Thanks for joining in. We are just gonna start. Yep, Viraj, we are just gonna start.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for joining in. Uh, so yeah, I just wanted to introduce myself first and then Shreya. So I am Abhay, the founder of Design Hat, and we have our team here as well. We have Siddhi, Momita, and I think Devesh and Agniva is there as well. So thank you everyone for joining in as well. So today's session is gonna be about exploring design careers. So our Hi Shreya, hi. So basically, Shreya contributes to the product strategy and design for the supply side at Urban Company, which was formerly known as Urban Clap. And her current area of focus is social engineering, its impact on market structures, randomized controlled experiments, and studying wealth user relationship. She likes to volunteer for animal welfare. We are very glad to have her here with us today and share her experience in different design roles, which she has gathered over last 6 years. And I hope everyone will get some or the other insights from this particular session. And the stage is yours, Shreya. Yep. Thanks for coming
Well,
in.
thank you. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. So, simply put, I solve problems that many of you face while you're trying to book your beauty or home services through Urban Clap app. And so today we'll be talking about what actually design means, what are the different domains of design, and if you are interested in becoming a designer or not, what all should you be following, to know your passion in design. All right, so without further ado, let's begin. All right, give me a moment while I'll share my screen. All right, I hope my screen is visible. It's clear.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. So, um, now today in today's session, we will be just quickly covering all these five things. What is a good design? Who is a good designer? What different parts of design are there? And then we'll be moving particularly to what I do, and I can probably teach you more about it, which is what a product designer is. And if you are interested in becoming a product designer, I can suggest you few of the resources that you could help and can help you get started in this field. So before we begin a session, it's very important for us to be in the right set of mood. And for that, I have just a little bit of small activity planned. It's a very simple activity. Here are some of the ingredients. You have bread, beans, potatoes, herbs, sugar, spice, and water. And you have to guess this. What food am I talking about? What dish is this? And I can tell you that this dish is very crunchy. It is slightly wet, obviously, because you have water over there, and it's gooey. Gooey is like it's not very like hard as ice. Neither it's very soft as cream. It's somewhere in the middle. It's crunchy, wet, and gooey. Any ideas? I'll give you 60 seconds to think about what dish I'm talking about. Any guesses? Siddhi, can you help me with the guesses because I'm not able to see the chat over here.
Sure. We've already got the first guest from Raj Sahani. It's honey chili potato.
Oh, honey chili potato. Okay. All right. How do we use water? That's actually an active ingredient in for this dish. It's not like कि prepare करने में use होता है. We have to think of a dish which also has water in it.
So now we have the next guest from Sadiq Rizvi. He's saying it's momos.
Momos. How okay. Yes. But how? Where do we use bread in momos? Think about it. Maybe the flour. Okay, you probably are referring to the flour, which is used to make momos. Okay. Sugar. Anybody eaten sweet momos? Okay, yeah, that could be one. I'm not saying it cannot be.
We've got a second guest that is from Sahib Anand. He
Yeah.
says it's mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. He's getting closer. Still, all right.
And
Okay.
Parul, there are two more. Parul Singh says it's cutlets, and Sadiq Rizvi says it's Gujarati momos.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Now the regional flavors are coming in. Great. All right, I think I'm probably going to reveal this. See, there are no right answers to it. You all are right. Maybe the dish you think is so. Generally, when I ask this to my friends, and we have this conducted this activity a lot in our company, so we get all these responses, but pretty much same. Chili potato is everyone's favorite. All right. So what I was referring to is actually this. It's a simple golgappa or pani puri, or someone fancy will probably call it water balls. I don't know if it is right or wrong, but so what I'm trying to say is, when you think of bread and when you think of beans, most of the time I get responses like sandwiches, frankies, or tacos. But so this is all about just opening your mind, being receptive to whatever information is being given to you, and then you can make your own sandwich, or you can make your own golgappe, whatever you like, from these ingredients. All right, moving on. We'll first, before we discuss what is a good design, or if you want to take design or not as a career, let's first discuss what is a good design. And I'm not going to bore you from some theories. I'm just going to show you some images, and you will tell me whether or not is it a good design for you. So we are all aware of what this thing is. This is the previous initial iterations of Apple when they first launched Apple Pencil, and this was the way they introduced how the pencil was to be charged, by attaching the head of the pencil to the to the bottom of the iPad. Now, why is this a good design, or why is it not a good design? Any opinions over here? You can unmute your mics and speak up. That will be faster for us to converse. Don't be afraid of the opinions. There's no right or wrong answer over here. Siddhi, why don't you take the first guess? You get the party started.
It's a bit tough one, I think. But to say, um, I would say it's a good design.
Okay. All right.
Uh,
Anyone else?
I
Yeah.
want to take a guess. I think it is
Mm-hmm.
not a good design because it just
Mm-hmm.
increase, like it's not friendly for us to use. Like it just increases the space
Mm-hmm.
to be used, I think.
Okay. All right. May I know your name, please?
Okay,
I'm
I'm a bit. Yeah.
okay. Hi. Abhay. Okay, great. So, Abhay and Siddhi, tell me something. Would you prefer an iPad which has a charging port like this, or would you all prefer an iPad which has a charging port like this?
Definitely this one.
Yeah, this one.
So, why would you prefer this over the previous
Aesthetic, simple,
one? Okay.
magnetic. So I think it might be related to something like that.
Isn't it very easy?
Easy, yeah.
Yeah.
I was
It's
gonna say
very
that.
easy
Easy
for
to
you to
use.
charge, right?
And it does not require, as Abhi was mentioning, it does
Uh,
not require a lot of space.
a lot of space, right? And it does not leave anything unfunctional while the pencil is being charged. You can still, use your iPad in a very
True.
portable manner, hold it wherever in whichever orientation you want, and start using it right away, right? So, what is a good design? A good design is innovative. So you could have said, like, it is not that the first image was not solving the purpose; it was solving the purpose. But can you be more innovative with the solutions? And obviously this takes a lot of innovation, and is probably more expensive, difficult, and more time consuming for the company to build, to make sure, and this must have gone through hundreds and hundreds of tests to make sure that this pencil doesn't fall off while it is being charged, or the magnetic sound over there is just the perfect one. There is a notification that comes when your pencil gets attached to the iPad, to give a feedback to the user, okay, yes, this pencil is getting charged. So here, the first principle is that a good design is innovative. It is functional, but it does more than just its function. Now, there are some couple of examples more to emphasize on what are the other properties or principles of good design. So, what is the difference between the car that you see on the left and the car that you see on the right? or is there not any difference? Both are similar, both are same. Anyone has a preference, with if you are asked to, you know, be a hotel manager and you have to ask a customer who will be accompanying them, which one do you pick to go for?
The right one.
The right one? Why would you choose the right one?
Because I mean, I am a girl and I'm a bachelor yet, so I don't have a wife. So I would feel more welcomed in that way, that this is not generalize my partner.
Okay. Well, that's very beautiful of you to tell, and say it out loud. I think, from in the days that we are in, it's much more important to be acknowledging everyone else, right? And is this also usable in every scenario? The card on the left, is it usable in every scenario? Whether you're asking a boy or a girl, or you are asking anyone who does not identify with either of those two genders, is also important. So you have to be inclusive of all the people and all the community, and make sure you do not leave any user outside of the design. So when you design your anything for that matter, if you, even if you're designing a simple card, an invitation card to your party, you should make sure that everyone is invited. And I'm not saying we make these choices very consciously. It's always probably, fed into ourselves, right when we are from the childhood. But the world is changing, and we have to constantly learn to be inclusive of all the communities and all the genders over here. So a good design is inclusive. Now let's move some to more examples over here. These are some fun ones. So what is the difference again between the left and the right one? um, which one do you feel is the right one? So if you have to ask someone, if you have to guide them through, you're making an application that guides pregnant women through their pregnancy, which one do you choose to go in your application? Come on, people. There's no right or wrong answer over here. We are all, like, I all made some very funny guesses initially myself when I was starting this exercise. So
So I think we're getting a lot of interaction
mm,
uh, on chat. Parul Singh wants to say something. Please
okay,
go ahead.
No, I was saying that I would prefer left side
okay. And, could you help us explain the reason, please?
because I want to cherish her and make her feel good about she's pregnant. So that's why.
Okay, okay, correct. Anyone else with a different opinion over here? Why we should go with the left and not with the right?
I think I would go with the right one because, like, it's they are saying that probably pregnant. So if this is a probable, then why are you saying just congratulations? You are definite on that term that you are saying congratulations, and still you are saying that probably.
Okay.
So it's kind of like two terms, different
Hmm.
aspects.
Okay. All right. So here we have another opinion who basically mean. So we are not sure whether or not this lady is pregnant, but so the opinion over here is, if you are not confident, why do you want to basically congratulate the person? All right. So the thing over here is, let's look at what both the copies are like. If, let's say, there must be someone who actually sat down and designed these content. So when they were designing, let's understand what the mentality of that person was. So the person on the left looks like they think that pregnancy is a good news, and that's why they are congratulating the lady or someone who has taken that test, telling that congratulation, you, based on what you told us, you're probably pregnant. So for them, it's a good news. The person on the left, the other designer, when they sat down and they were writing this content, they thought that maybe this is a good news. It may also be that it is not a good news for someone who is, let's say, having medical issues, or who does not want a baby for any of the reasons, or is not ready for a baby at the career, or at the age, in any point in time. So though they probably made a copy which will go in a lot of cases and will, be very neutral in the voice. So when you're designing something and your audience can be anyone, you have to be very sure of what the message is. Is it the right time to celebrate? Is it the right news, based on user? You do If you know your user, you probably, and you know that this user is going to feel happy, you will go with the left one. But if you do not know the user, which is going to be a lot of the different cases, you probably will go with a neutral tone. And based on the same lines, now if you see these two options, which one do you choose now? What is the difference between the left and the right one? Can you tell me, one designer who made these two different copies, what was the different thought process on choosing to write a default value in the text field? So on the left, we see that that designer has chosen to put $2,500, and on the right side, that designer has chosen to put $0. What is the difference over here? All right, I think I have stumped with the choices over here. Siddhi, is there any guesses, any comments in the chat? Let me know, please.
Oh yeah, sure.
I might want to guess. So I think it might depend on like, to be honest, the right one is the perfect design because of the fact that we don't know, as you said, we don't know who might be the audience, right?
Mhm.
So if if the audience just earns $10, like if someone is a student, he might not earn 20, he might not be able to save $2,500. He might
Yes.
just be able to save just $10. So that is a perfect design, but the difference that you asked in the, what I would say, the thinking when someone was designing it, it might be something related to the target audience that they were targeting. Like if
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I think, thank you for the answer. I think you are getting the drift of it. So, what I'm trying to drive the point over here is a good design is empathetic to the user. You always try to be empathize with what the user is feeling, understand, be in the shoes. Not all the users are equal. So me and my sister, we both use Instagram, but the motive, the aspirations, the time, the way our user behaviors, they are very different. And you have, as a designer, it's your responsibility to empathize with every user that you feel are the majority use case of your application. So you cannot be designing for a very particular set of users. The problem, or not the problem, the issue in fact with um, left one over here is, when you say how much did you save last month, and then you put a number over there, 2,500 as the default text field placeholder. As a user, I feel if I save lesser than that, I feel sad, because now I see this 2,500 as a default parameter, and I feel, was I supposed to save $2,500? Because I could only manage saving $15 in a month. And if and a lot of user, what is the end outcome of this interface or this design, that you made your user in fact sad? Have you ever wondered why people, when it happens to a lot of friends of mine who use Walnut and some other different kind of applications like that to track their expenses, and within the first few days they're very enthused, they're very excited to use that application, but over time, they kind of get scared more and more to open that application and see how much they have expend in the previous month, and how much of the, how far they are from meeting the goals. So it's all about making that motivation, or tapping into that user's empathy when you are designing for the audience. Okay. Now, again, in these two different examples, it's on the same lines. Here are two different options which basically are trying to tell you the same thing. The left one says keep me in the loop, and the right one says send me text alerts. The difference is only in the tone. So in the left one, it's probably trying to sound very smart, and it's probably right if the target audience is who understand that tone and text message when they say, like as a designer, when I'm writing, keep me in the loop. If the audience, for example, if Siddhi understands that I'm asking for whether or not she wants to receive text alerts, it works for my kind of audience. But let's say if I'm designing for my parents, if there is an application who wants to ask audience, who has a target audience of more senior people, will they be able to understand with what keep me in the loop means? Because it's more trendy and hip language. So we'll go and shift our gears and move towards a more neutral, more simple, and more direct way of saying whether or not you want to send or you want to receive text alerts. So a good design is therefore simple. And Paul Rand is one of the famous designers of the century, and he is applauded. And he said this wonderful quote, which basically translates to that being simple is very, very difficult. It's easier to make something which is very like can do hundred of things, but it's very difficult to make things which are very simple, very elegant, and will do just one thing. But that one thing that they do will be out of the world. It will be flawless. It will execute, and it will be timeless. So, for example, I have some examples to prove that. Now, here is an example of a straw. Think about the time when you used this product. Did you need any user manual of how to use a straw? Did anybody felt the need to go through instructions of how do you sip your coffee or your frappe using a straw? And for that very reason, it's a beautiful design. Good design is all around you, by the way, and you only have to be very, very observant and very careful in using things to understand whether or not a thing is serving its purpose. Another example are these paper clips. So these paper clips, it's very easy to use them. Do you need a user manual to use them? No, it just fits. It's you take them, you probably fidget once or twice, and then you understand, oh, this is supposed to hold paper together and it's supposed to work like this. And that's what I'm trying to drive my point across, that a good design is timeless, whether you are a teenager or a middle-aged woman or a senior or a senior citizen. You will probably understand how to use a straw, how to use a paper clip, how to use a paper, how to use a pen, because they're so simple in the design. Now let's suppose I had tried to make this pen or a pencil very fancy. I introduced some cool features in it. I give them options for the users to change their ink colors and stuff like that. Do you think my mom or my father will be able to understand and quickly change those options? So you have to understand the purpose of the product and then design accordingly, and make sure that your product, once you design, once it has a purpose, it is timeless. And like John Keats says, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. So anything which has simple enough will always be timeless. And so that brings us to the question, who is a good designer? A good designer is just three things. If you have these three qualities in you, you will be a good designer in whatever field that you choose to be. So you have to have empathy. That heart starts for empathy, to be able to understand each other, to be able to understand the motivations of why a user is doing the way or he or she is doing that thing. So if you see from the data that a user is using Instagram around 8 o'clock in the night, you have to not just look at the data, but also understand the motivations of the person. Why only 8 o'clock? Why not 6 a.m. or why not 3 p.m.? Is it because they are commuting back and they are free during 8 o'clock during that time, or is it because they are waiting for their food to be prepared and they eat outside, and that's why they are standing in the queue and just fidgeting around Instagram, browsing, casually browsing while they wait in the queue for the food to be served? So you have to have good empathy to be able to understand the motivations of the audience. The second one quality is be observant. Be observant and very, very sensitive to the environment around you. If um, if you feel a good designer has this quality of observing things beautifully. So when you so there's this difference, and I understood this difference with practice. So when I was a new designer, I was starting in my career, I used to view things as art. So I would see a thing, I would see a poster design, I would see a copy, package design, I would say, oh, that's so beautiful. This is I would see the colors, I would see how beautiful patterns they are, and based on that I would make some decisions. So I used to judge the book by the cover, as the phrase goes. But now, after learning and practicing design, and talking to a lot of users, going on user studies and stuff like that, we understand that design is much more than the cover. It is what it does. And sometimes good design is just invisible. You probably have never thought why the water bottle, is shaped like this. It could have been any fancy shape, but why do we have that particular shape? Um, why is it? Why is a straw designed the way it is designed? Why do plants, have, in certain regions they are strong trunk, like pine shaped, and in some other regions they shed the leaves every summer, in during autumn. So once you understand the purpose and you understand and observe the nature, you will understand that everything has its own purpose and it fits into a context. If you remove that thing from the context that it is serving, it probably is a bit bad choice. So for example, if you think you like polar bear and you want to make that polar bear as a pet of yours, it is not possible, because we live in a tropical country and that polar bear is not made to survive in a country. Now that is a very extravagant example, and I can give you examples of same products in our day-to-day lives. So like for example, I like to play certain video games, Cyberpunk being one. But if that game, I and my it's not like my parents don't enjoy playing games, but their games, the video games that they choose to play and what I choose to play are very different. So if I ask them to, sit in front of the Xbox and start playing that game, they'll probably be all confused, because that context is not built for them. That the it's a lot of alien world, alien technology, and alien interface for that set of audience, and that's where your observation plays a big role into deciding what features you want to keep in a product and what features do you want to remove from the product. And the third and most important skill is questioning. You have empathy, you are a good observer, but you should question. You should not be afraid, you should not be shy of asking questions. Asking questions, you may feel that you would sound like a fool, because you feel that the question you're asking is a very simple one which probably everyone in the room knows. But if you feel that you are being the dumbest in the room, I think that's a good way and a good situation in your life to be, instead of being the smartest in the room. Because once you are the smartest in the room, there is no scope for you to grow and learn. And if there is no scope for you to grow and learn, you are trapped in that comfort circle. So you always should be asking questions, always striving. So the example that I gave you for this Apple iPad, which had the charging point at the bottom, and you had to like basically attach the head of the Apple Pencil to the bottom of the iPad to charge. That's a bad design, only because the designers did not question the context of the users a lot more. Had they questioned more, they would have come to that magnetic closure and charging a lot earlier, instead of coming up with some very unusable versions of it. So these three qualities make you a good designer. And now, with these three qualities, we
I would
move.
like to
Yeah.
get one question that we
Okay.
have from Viraj Sahani. He
Okay.
asked, but can products which are made for targeting audience be timeless? Since time changes, people's choice change.
Yes, that's a very great question, Virat. So see, every product has a purpose, and once that purpose is served, you cannot be using that product, you know, all the time. So let's say there was a time when straws are made out of plastic were being very useful. They were mass produced, they were very cheap to produce and manufacture and distribute. And that's one reason why they were so prevalent, and everybody used to give them for free. McDonald's, all these retail chains, they used to give these things for free to customers. Now, when everybody started being more conscious about the environmental choices, we understood that making these straws out of plastic is not a viable choice for a planet. And now a lot of companies, they have consciously taken the step of making them out of steel and making them reusable, or making them out of paper. So now if you go in a Burger King or a McDonald's, and if they are being environmental conscious, you would see that the straws are now made out of paper, so that they are recyclable and reuse, use and throw, and they serve the purpose also. So yes, to your question, sometimes by timeless, it doesn't mean that it should just persist in the environment or in the universe forever. It should persist as long as it serves its purpose to the T. And that's what timeless means. So if the purpose is being served, I think that is more important. And not all products can be, timeless like that. So that's the answer to your question. If you have any question, feel free to have a rebuttal over there. All right, so we move to a more interesting part now. What different design paths are there? Now we start with this one. This is something which we have all seen. We have all, went to this Burger King or McDonald's or whatever, and we have seen that their paper bags, right from the logo to the people who are serving the food or at the counter, they all have some identity, or there's some sort of consistency in every touch point that you come across in that shop. So this identity, this consistency is brought with the help of an identity designer. And these designers, they specialize in, they basically are graphic designers, but this is an application of graphic designer to a very, very specialized product domain. And these designers, they will generally work in agencies, in design agencies like Wolf Ollens, Pentagram. These are some very world famous agencies which design identities and logos and brands, for famous companies over here. So recently Burger King also changed their logo from the one on the left to the one on the right. And I think a lot of companies now these days are going towards more flat style illustrations, rather than old school types wherein you had a word art kind of a logo. And this is an example of what an identity designer does. So they may give you an identity of a business which is very fun, like Burger King, or they may also give an identity of a business which is very professional, and is very premium, like something like American Express. So this is done by Pentagram, and they have designed an identity. They changed the logo of the American Express from the one on the left that you see, it has a gradient, to the one on the right, which has no gradient, is very solid, has very clean, solid lines over there. And these are some examples of brand designs gone wrong. So, for example, Mynthro Controversy. I don't know if how many over here are aware of this controversy, but it's a very funny one. But at the same time, this is what happens when you do not empathize with the user, you are not observant, and you definitely don't answer questions enough before shipping a product. So the Mynthro Controversy, if for those who don't know, it arose because the logo on the left that you see over here, on the top left, some people felt that it used to represent some women, women's legs in a very controversial position. So that's the reason it got a lot of flack from the women community, and not only from the women community, from a lot of different people as well. And it changed its logo to the one on the right. The second one, the Gap logo that you see at bottom left, that's again an example of a brand logo which like Gap changed its brand identity from left to right. And as soon as they changed it to the second one, they saw that the sales dipped Customers were complaining about that logo. And so they had to again reverse the decision and bring back the old logo style. And this is, I think, everyone. This is very recent example, the Amazon logo. I don't know how many of you were able to, was scanning for a logo with a card, and then, uh, had to read the icons to understand that, oh, Amazon has just changed its logo. But even this logo, the one that you see over here with mustache, so this is known as a mustache design. It also got controversy, and after that controversy, Amazon updated its logo again, and now they have a folded tape on its logo on the top. If you Google, you'll probably understand what I'm trying to refer over here. But this is what some what happens when you are not observant and you do not empathize with the audience and ask questions enough before you ship a product. So be very, very careful of what you are shipping to the final audience. So like I said, these are all examples of identity, and these the ones who design these are known as identity or brand designers. Now let's move to some very physical part of the brand. So these are some examples of different packages. So you see, we have package designers also. These are again, they are very specialized into designing for packaging materials, because package design is very, very specialized art, and you have to kind of convey a lot through packaging design. So for example, in a medicine, there are some rules of what ingredients you should be displaying on the package, how long, you know what information to omit, what information to keep, what information should be present in scientific names and things like that. So a brand designer, while they only design the look and feel of the brand, the package designer actually deliver that look and feel through designing the package or the outer covering of that product. So, for example, in Taj Mahal, it gives you a very premium feel, and somebody must have sat through and designed of how that material will be packaged. I mean, they could have easily chosen a cardboard to, give premium tea, but they thought, no, a cardboard won't do it. It won't convey that premium feel through a cardboard. So they then chose to go with a different set of packaging material for it. And similarly, the one on the right, you see, it's a design for a beverage, and this beverage has an embossing on its label, and this embossing is because they want to convey a premium feel and a sense of touch to that label. So this is what a package designer does, and that's what it's called. Now this is a very fun, but I think everybody knows what these designers are. These are motion designers. They design all the different kind of motions. So they can be micro interactions. Micro interactions are basically what happens when you scroll a page. So all these animations that you see, how the text is appearing, and what happens when you hover your mouse pointer over here and there. This is all decided and designed by a motion designer. The one over on the top left, it's just a pure animation for visual purposes. So these are 3D motion designers, and the one on the bottom left that you see over here, these are again motion designer, probably a very generalized concept, but again, all three are examples of one and the same thing, which is motion designing.
We have two questions here.
Okay.
One is Virat Sahani is asking difference between identity designer and brand designer.
Identity and brand designer. Virat, the identity and brand design are essentially the same thing. So identity is the look and feel of how your brand is going to be. So some people call it brand designing, and others call it identity, but it's one and the same thing. A brand can have different identities. So let's say my brand, like for example, Urban Company can have a different identity design for India and a separate identity design for some other country based on what they feel is more culturally acceptable over there. Also, a brand can have multiple identities for the same region. So, for example, in India, Urban Company may choose to represent its salon category in a very different identity, like probably using a lot of pinkish tones for salon for ladies, and using a lot of bluish tone for men's grooming, although I don't think color should be differentiating the genders over here, but just giving you an example of what it, you might have also come across some of these things. Um, uh, so those micro identities coexist within the same brand. So that's just a small difference, but the work and the process of that work is essentially the same. I hope I cleared that question for you. All right, moving on. These are some environment designs which are representing the aesthetics of a brand. So now we discussed what package designer do and what identity designer do. These designers, they are specialized in designing the space. So when you move or you walk into a Starbucks, there is a particular look and feel of that cafe, right? You are there's a particular scent of that coffee that attracts you, or you walk in that uh, Emirates first class lounge. There is a particular aesthetics, that suddenly makes you feel that, oh, you are somewhere very accustomed and very customized for your experience. So all these things, they are taken care of by interior designers. They are also known as environment or gallery curation artists. So mostly they are working with architectural firms, or they are also working with museums and art galleries to curate the experience of the user related to the art that is being displayed over there. And this is what I think everybody must be knowing this. So these are different interfaces. Now, what is an interface? An interface is a very simple way of how you interact with the application or a product. So some products like the watch, it has a small interface. Some products like mobile, it has a slightly bigger interface. And then there are virtual and augmented interfaces, which we call AR and VR experiences. These are generally through devices that you wear on your eyes, or you can also get that same experience in through a mobile camera, like augmented reality. So these are the different interfaces, and the people who design these interfaces are known as user interface designers. And now I'm taking you to a different variation of these user interface designers. This is related to what generally UX designers do. So this is a user experience design. I've taken pictures from my own workspace over here to tell you that this is what I have been doing for most part of my career. I have been interviewing users. So on the top left, you see that I'm interviewing some ladies from professionals from a salon category, and they are helping me understand what is the mental model of navigating the help center that's present on the application. The one on the right, the one on the right over here with the golden dots, these are representing the Google's design sprint. And so Google design sprint is basically a process where you invite people from your company, and they help you vote for the ideas that are solving the same problem but different variations of that problem, of the execution of how to solve that problem. So these are examples of that. And the one on the bottom left is what happens. So you your research, you run these sprints over there, and how you communicate to the team. Now you're presenting to the team of what your design decision is and why is that design decision taken. So that's what you do as a UX designer. It's a lot to do with research part, and then some UX designers are also proficient as interface designers, so you will also be designing interfaces based on the results of the research that you get. And
We have more questions.
okay, perfect.
So also I would like to tell everyone that you guys are free to unmute yourself because I see Sahib has two questions.
Okay.
So you're free to unmute yourself. But for now, I'll say the question.
Okay.
The first question is, why do we need different designers? One designer can manage everything.
uh, I'm sorry, I did not get this. Design different designers for what? Are you saying about related to particularly interface designing, or is there any other designing that you are referring to?
He asked 5 minutes back. So I think
Okay,
he's asking in general.
okay. See, you do not need, yes, you're absolutely right, you do not need different designers to do that. And I invite you to be actually uh, be someone who can do interior designing, interface designing, because see, the fundamentals of design field, like I said, is the same. You have the principles in your hand. Now how you apply that medium can be anything. And by the way, we have designers who are multidisciplinary in style. So we had Leonardo da Vinci, who is an engineer, who is an architect, who is a painter, who is a mural artist, who designed a lot, who sculpted and did a lot of different things. So you can be anyone who you want to be. There is no possibility, and me defining these things, please do not understand that these are the only career options you have. You can be an amalgamation of a user interface designer and in illustration artist. You can be an amalgamation of motion designer who is very good at research also, uh, and so on and so forth. So I'm only making you understand that these are the different mediums that you can explore to express your art and express your creativity. And any medium that you choose, you can be an expert over there. So you're absolutely right. You do not need different designers for this. It's just that I am comfortable in doing research and expressing those ideas of my research through interface designing, and that's what I do in my day to day life, and help that keeps my boat afloat and helps me earn the moolah. So whatever suits your purpose, man. There's no hard and fast rule over there.
Thank you. We have one more question from
Okay.
Saib himself. I
Mhm.
want to know scope in research in design.
The scope of research and designs, great question. So research in as a designer, you if you want to take research as a full time, there is a lot of scope in research, because especially when India is the what you say is a vast country, and you have the next billion users in India, a lot more. So, and a lot of products in India, if you look at the market today, they are saturated with products which are following the design principles and the methodologies that have worked in the Western countries, but they do not work in India anymore, because the audience in India, the people, the demographics of India are very different. So we need people in design, in research, who can understand these people and help us create frameworks of design for our own Indian audiences. And if you want to explore research field, I think the options are numerous. So you could be doing ethnography research. You can be a researcher for a very very particular niche subject also. So if you want, you can be researching about the economy, and thereby help understand what is the financial inclusivity statistics in India, and how you can leverage the behaviors of people in India, of how they behave towards financial education, and use that to design a product and inform decisions regarding design of a product in companies like dealing with this financial market. So there is Zerodha, there is Walnut, there is Cred also. So all these companies, they need researchers, and they do have researchers full time to help them understand what is how do people in India behave. Related to a particular field. Then again, you can also be a researcher which who has a very great interest in understanding social interaction. So then Facebook, Instagram, and all these social networking companies can reach out to you and help you, and you can help them to take design decisions based on your research. So yes, research has a lot of scope, and it's not a lot that we hear about researchers, because obviously their work is more related to the initial stages of the projects, uh, and as the more you go towards closing a project and launching it, the lesser and lesser involvement of the research team happens. But I think that process is a bit broken. A research team's job is never finished, and so you really need to think about what area that interests you, is interesting to you for research. Because in research, see, if you're going and choosing research as a design career, you have to go very deep in that area to be an expert in that. You should not be then dabbling around with a lot of different fields, or at least have your fundamentals very clear, so that if you want to research about e-commerce, you can easily go and tell Amazon about that, hey, this is what I researched about e-commerce and this is how I can help you. um, uh, and so on and so forth. So yes, definitely do take research up. We had at Urban Company, if to tell you the truth, we had the hardest time hiring researchers for our project, because there is a dearth of good researchers in Indian market related, who can help us understand human behavior. And that's really something that, if you choose to take that up, I'll be super glad. You know and that'll definitely help you, because obviously there's no there is a lesser and lesser competition over there. Cool. Okay, so we've covered user experience designers. Now, this is a very confusing field, because these designers, they design product, and product designers are also often confused with the digital product designers. So the examples over here, they show you industrial product design, of how a physical product will look like. So I hope everybody's here aware of who Johnny Eve is. He is the chief design officer at Apple, and he used to design the way, design how the MacBooks or the Mac Air will look like in your hand. Will the body be made of aluminum? What buttons will be there? What charging points will be there? What will be the packing of the chipset inside the laptop? All these decisions are taken by the industrial product designer. And then we have digital product designers. Digital product designers are different, a little bit different from user experience designer. So a digital product designer is generally a generalist, and they have knowledge of two domains, which is basically user experience design and product management. So they have also business knowledge. They understand how business function, what is the business model of the company that you are working for, and that's how you become a product designer for the company. So like I said, my role as a product designer, it involves understanding how Urban Company's business makes money, how the user behavior is, the users who are potential users or are already using the app. And then I have to make a balance between those two areas, and understand what trade-offs or what constraints do I have when I'm trying to launch a new feature over there. So that's what a digital product designer do. And now we are nearing towards the last question and the last section of the presentation, which is, where do I begin? Now, the examples that I have for you over here, these are very, very, you know, just very small examples, and there are lots more good research and good resources available online. And I would encourage you to keep in touch, and never be shy. Like I said, a good designer always asks questions, so keep asking questions. Reach out and network to people who are experts in your field, to get a better understanding of more targeted courses and materials. But before you begin, I have some tips for you.
We have one question.
Okay.
Sahib wants you to repeat the last role.
The last role of a product designer is this one.
I think, yeah, the last role that you discussed.
Yeah, this is the last one I discussed.
Right.
Okay. So a digital product designer is different from the industrial product designer. I hope that difference is clear. So in product designer, they'll be making physical products, and a digital product designer obviously will be making digital products. The digital product designer, they are different from user experience designers. How? The user experience designers, they are more research focused. So they'll be conducting, or they'll be understanding the user behavior, the user journey, of how the user interacts within the app. Whereas a product designer, apart from this research related and the interaction design thing, they will be very focused on also the business of how the product that they are designing is at the end of the day, see, to be very real over here, at the end of the day, your product has to make money, because if it doesn't make money, you cannot survive in the market. And if I'm working for urban company, I have to make sure that the product is making money for my company, and the bills are getting paid. So a product designer, it's my responsibility to understand how the business makes money, what are the revenue streams, how can I earn money. I can earn money by obviously delivering home and beauty services. I can earn money by selling products to the partners. I can earn money by charging for subscriptions, and stuff like that. So what are the different revenue streams in the company? Also, not just revenue streams, how can I save money? I can save money by reducing the contact rate on the helpline, because that helpline costs business a certain amount of money every month to keep for the upkeep and maintenance. I can save cost by, helping the users who already have subscriptions repeat and order more and more. So as they order more and more, I have to give them lesser and lesser discounts, because they already are there on the platform. And that's how I save money for the business. I can save money by bargaining from different payment gateways. I can say, okay, phone pay is charging me a lot on per transaction basis, so I'm going to go with some other payment gateway, probably Paytm, because they are charging me lesser for the same transaction. And that basic actually that works, because during COVID times, when the demand dropped by 90%, we worked on a project which basically was, can you imagine, it was only nudging the user to use UPI payment method instead of using credit card and debit card, because the transaction that used to happen through credit and debit cards, it used to cost urban company twice the amount of what UPI payment did. So we made choice architecture for the users in such a way that they slightly we promoted UPI method, and that helped us save 40 lakhs in a month. So you can imagine what that a product designer's job is not just to design a beautiful product and do research. You also have to understand the business, the motivations of how the business is going to run, what is the implication, what is the impact of the product. You have to also quantify that. So when you are saying and you're talking to your stakeholder, you cannot just say ki, I think this design will work because it's beautiful. You have to give reason. You have to tell them, I think this design will work because based on the current trend, I see that the request will go up by 25%, which will help us save 40 lakhs in the future. So this is what a product design role is, and how is it different from a UX design role. I hope I had made it more clear and not made it more confusing for you. If you have any more questions on this, please ask right away. Siddhi, can I move forward?
Yes,
Or
yes. He said thank you.
all right, okay, perfect, great. Okay, so yeah, before you begin looking for resources and starting, knowing what to learn, what to, who to ask, let's just lay down some framework for ourselves. We will first explore everything that you want. So you have to explore different podcasts, people, places, books. There is so much information on the internet, on around you. There are people who you should explore and understand and learn from their experiences. Because right now, as there was a question that I just don't want to be one kind of a designer, I want to be many kind of designers. So yes, you can be many kind of designers, and you can choose multiple mediums for expressing your creativity. But for that, you need to explore what type of different mediums are there. So go and take those courses, different courses. Don't limit yourself only to digital interaction and illustration. Also take courses in architecture, probably, because that will help expand your inspiration radius. You will get inspired from different things. And there's a very beautiful movie on Netflix, it's called Abstract. And if you want to go through that, please go through that. And they show you different type of designers, how the process looks like, what the day-to-day life is, and that will help you understand what are different ways in which you can get inspired for your craft. The second principle that we will follow is that we'll experiment. So get your hands dirty. Apply for those internships, even if it is unpaid. But don't, if it is unpaid, generally no internship should be in unpaid, unless it's a very very good opportunity, and you are just starting in your career. I do not recommend unpaid internships to anyone, but I mean, if you can roll the dice, please go ahead and do it by all means. So get those internships, learn from people who are the best in the field, and if there is any product, this is for like any product you see on Dribble which you find good, um, take that product, take a screenshot, put it in Figma or whatever software you want to use, and try to replicate that same design. And you, as you try to replicate that design, you will get to understand the design decision, every little detail that went into designing that interface, and that will help you understand how design decisions are made, what all design decisions are made for. And then you will also question smarter. See, it's one thing to keep asking questions, and the other thing to learn to question and have those questions smarter. And that's how you judge a person of how much experience they have by the questions, by the type of questions they ask. So after you design these products, go and ask for feedback. Reach out to people on LinkedIn, on Behance, and anywhere, like wherever you feel you have a good support system. Ask from real professionals to critique your design, and be very nice about it. Don't be just leaving a comment on Behance, please take a look at my work and all that. That's just unprofessional. And if you're designing your own product, write down your design decisions. Create those medium case studies, because once you start writing down your design decisions, it'll help your thoughts getting more materialized for yourself. Participate in contests. There is a lot of different contests on Dribble, on Top Coder, where you can participate and get a feel of where how good you are, and improve your craft. Then there are freelancing is a good way. For me, freelancing helped in managing my relationships with the clients, and managing my finance also, because when I started on Fiverr, I was getting just $5 for I used to create social media post, and then I said, okay, it's easier to get $5. Let me increase the price and see if I can get the if how much my designs are worth for. And I started increasing price of my designs to an extent that I used to charge about $35 for an hour, and ended up making $4 and $5 digit dollars, income on for a week's work. So start small, get your hands dirty, and just focus on practicing your craft. The third thing is evaluate. Evaluation means judging whether or not, being very very objective in judging your design. Don't think that your design is your baby and there is nothing wrong with your design. When somebody is giving you feedback, do not criticize that person, do not take it personally, but instead be very objective and have a very passionate detachment from your product. What I mean by that is, if somebody is giving you feedback, you should not be defensive about it. Rather, you should welcome the feedback, and keep improving your process. Keep improving your process, iterating on it, and see what works and what doesn't work for you. What are your heuristics? Heuristics are basically things against which you measure your design. Try to learn how different businesses earn their money, because that is most important to them. If you as a designer can prove your worth by helping the businesses earn, I think that's what a unicorn is for, right? Have frameworks for solving problem, and before you design anything, visualize what the success is going to look like. Now the last thing is eliminate. You have you have explored, you have experimented, you have evaluated. Now it's time to eliminate everything that doesn't make sense to you. Not like eliminate the career choices, but like eliminate things that you from the feedback which is not contributing to your success. I see that when I started out, I had so many tools for every little things. Like if I wanted to edit a picture or a design, I used to go in Illustrator. Then if I wanted to edit a photo, I used to go in Photoshop and stuff like that. So that kind of crowded my memory, that kind of crowded my mental space, my obviously my laptop and things like that. um, then I eventually switched to having just Figma for everything. So I use Figma a lot, and I use Notion for everything related to writing, and I use Figma for everything related to design. So I design, I prototype, I hand off my designs to developers on Figma. I even make decks, that is presentations, on Figma for if I have to share something with my stakeholders. I use Notion for documenting my process, the design decisions, if I have to create timelines and all that stuff on Notion. So keep it very simple, but keep it very, very sharp. All right, so these are some of the examples of what you should eliminate. Eliminate decorations. Like sometimes I see people like to use a lot of different colors in the designs, which is not contributing, and it makes it look like decked with July 4th celebration. So if it is not contributing to the purpose of the design, you should probably think about eliminating it. Like I said, being simple is very hard. So don't be so simplistic, but try to have a balance, and that's how you create your art. I hope this session was useful for you. And if you have any questions related to any design career choices or anything that I said, if you want to contest anything, I'm all open for that. So, all right, so let me see if I have. Siddhi, did I leave any question unanswered? I
Yes,
think.
I didn't want to interrupt you. We left one question that says, "Do I need a portfolio for internship as a fresher?"
Um, as a fresher, yes, a portfolio definitely helps in understanding your skills. See, because especially if you're applying for a very big organization or an agency, because they get a lot of applications. I post about an internship on LinkedIn, and I within 3 days I get 80 applications. Now, how am I going to understand how good at your craft is, and why would I choose you instead of someone else? So if there is, you know, I'm not saying portfolio is the end all, but if and the portfolio need not be in the traditional forms. Like, I see a lot of people redesigning Spotify, redesigning Netflix, and stuff like that. But you don't have to do that general thing. Just take a problem, any problem for that matter, even if it is a problem of bringing and ordering groceries for your home. Uh, Take that problem and tell me how did you solve that problem. That is more than enough, because I want to see what is how do you solve problems. Anything other than that can be learned on the job, and I know it working as a professional. If I let's say Siddhi is applying for internship, and I have to judge Siddhi, I will not judge her as a fresher on how beautiful pixels and how what alignment has she used in the design. I will judge her on what the process was. Has she made has she explored all the options? Has she evaluated those options, or what heuristics did she use on evaluating those options? Did she get feedback from the actual users or not? Did she work on those feedback or not? So all these examples, these decisions are more important in your portfolio. Have few works, but make sure you cover the entire breadth of those works. All right, so I think that's my advices. You need a portfolio for applying for internship, um, but it's okay if you have only one or two. I think 2, 3 projects are more than sufficient. All right, so how can I build a portfolio as a fresher? I am a fresher looking for experience. Okay, I think this is Viraj. Viraj, you can build your portfolio as a fresher also. So, like I said, just take any problem that you feel is needed to solve. Give me an example of any problem. I'll solve it for you right now. Not solve, but I'll give you a framework for you right now. So, um, let's see. Let's see, what problems do we have? So, I live in a very small city. Pizza box. Pizza box. What kind of problem is that? Do you want to redesign pizza box? No, I don't. I don't get it. All right, so let's take a problem. Siddhi, give me an example of a problem. All right. okay, I have a problem. So I have a dog with me, and I live in a city which is not very pet friendly. So I want to see, I want to create a product that helps the pet owners in the city, take their dogs out for walks in in dog friendly spaces. They want to know whether a particular city has pet friendly cafes, pet friendly lawns, gardens, malls, shopping centers, and where are the vets located, where are the dog spas located. So um, this is a problem I'm giving you. How do we make a social networking app for pets, basically help them identify and make their lives easier in our new city. And now, how you go about solving that problem is what matters. Nobody is going to look how beautiful your brand and identity design was unless you're applying for a brand and identity design position. So be sure of what you are trying to apply for. If you're applying for a product designing or a UX or UI designing, you will be judged accordingly. If you're applying for a brand designing, then probably instead of the problem, how it looks, what is the brand tone, is going to matter. So that's an example of how you can build your fresher exercise. And I think there are a lot of websites which give you prompts on how to they give you mock, what do you call them, problem statements to work on. I think Labs has a competition that it runs every week, and you can enroll and get points based on your participation over there. So that's how you can build your portfolio as a fresher. All right. Passionate what? Okay, I said passionate detachment. Passionate detachment is passionate attachment. It's just the opposite. So attachment is when you're very very attached to a particular thing. You've put your heart and soul to make a thing look beautiful, and you've worked so much on it. And now when somebody says, somebody comes by and just leaves a feedback, oh, it's not looking good, and you feel betrayed. How do you feel? You feel, oh, this person is shit. How come they say something like that? So it doesn't work in professional context. So that's what I said. Be uh, passionately detached from your work, because if you're not, you will not be able to learn your mistakes and work upon it. So that's an small advice uh, from the old me. All right, Uplabs question mark. Uplabs is a website. I can give you an address if you want. Uplabs. All right. And they used to have competitions. Yeah, I'm not sure if still have competitions. So they used to give a problem statement for all the designers to um, work on, and then the participants used to rate each other's work on these on their entries. And the more points you get, the higher the ranking you have. So if you want, you can do that. I think Dribble also has a lot of competitions going on. There is a website called Top Coder, and they have a section especially for UX designers. So if you want, you can also check that out. Top Coder is a very good place to learn. And some companies, they also run their own design contest over there, so you'll get paid also for participating. And if you win top 3 places, or I think top 6 place um, over there. So give that a try also. That's a nice way of building your skill with. All right, I think I have covered all the questions. Do we have any more questions for?
No, I think we're done here.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, people. I hope you had good insights from these. And if you have any more questions for me, or if you are feeling a bit shy or answering or asking over here, feel free to reach me out. I think Siddhi can help you with my LinkedIn or whatever you want to reach me out. I have a very simple email address also. It's just shreyasaxena@urbancompany.com. So you can also reach out if you want help. And before you ask that question, Urban Company, it keeps looking for internships or interns on a rolling basis. So right now, we have our hands full. We already have 3 interns on our team, but maybe next 2 months, keep in touch, keep building your skill, and if you feel you're ready for internships, I'm just a ping away. All right.
Thank you so much, Shreya, for coming here and telling us all about so much. I think so much was covered in this small session, and I got so many insights, and it was just lovely to hear and to know the scope of the design field as a beginner. And so it was amazing for me, and I'm sure the session was so interactive. You made sure that each and every question was solved very clearly and concisely. And thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been lovely talking to all of you. I hope you have a good weekend. It's Friday. Don't give yourself a break. Go and celebrate. uh, all right, Siddhi. All right, Abhay. Thank you so much for having me
Thank
over
you
here.
so much. I'll just share, just give me 1 minute and I'll share the socials with everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. No problem at all.
Could you please repeat the email ID?
Yeah, it's Shreya Saxena, without any spaces. Shreya Saxena at Urban Company. It's not Urban Clap anymore. Please, urbancompany.com.
Yes, here it is, guys. So, for any doubts, any further questions, you can definitely tune into Shreya's socials, and I'm sure she'll be very helpful. Thank you so much, Shreya, and thank you so much, audience. Hope you keep enjoying the sessions we are organizing.
All right, okay. Thank you so much. I hope to see many more such sessions coming up, and keep in touch with you all. Thank you.
Yes, thank
Bye.
you. Have a great evening.
Bye.
Yeah.